Hello! Before we get started with the sketchbook tour, I want to let you know why this exists. In this particular sketchbook, I will be going over drawings from my 12-year-old self, things I put down perhaps 24 years ago. We all start with the basics, and our early drawings are often not good. I hope peering into these old pages is enjoyable for you, funny, and perhaps even encouraging. You can see the awkward beginnings of the things I fell in love with, and a little bit of what was going through my mind at the time. I hope you enjoy and benefit from these pages.
Let's see what's inside. I can notice right off the bat this sketchbook's pretty skinny, which means I probably tore out a lot of pages and put in other places. So it might be short, but let's take a look. Alright, so mostly here we've just got some logo designs. We can see early days of me trying to figure out what to do. Oh, I know what these are. This is an L. It's for legacy. I had just started playing guitar, and I was working on the idea of starting a band with my friends, as everyone does when that's what they do. And so we had devised the name Legacy as being a really cool name for a band, and so I was working on different potential logos for it. So this is actually an abstracted L. F for Fender guitars, and then you got kind of this star flower formation here. Crosses and whatnot. I was in a Christian private school at that point in time. Of course, we do see there's a little sword down here, so, you know, there's always going to be some swords and things like that. Next page. I've got this sheet just in case things from underneath are shining through too much. On this page, we've got a spaceship, which looks like it has the head of a a lizard or a snake. You know, a little Saturn-type planet, something in the background here, trying to work out how explosions function and whatnot. I like how there's an Adidas logo on the wing. That's highly logical. Kind of fun. More of that L for the legacy, just filling it up with random designs and whatnot. I assume a lot of you probably did similar things when you were young, that you would work with just designs and things like that. This looks like an architectural design. This looks like planning out a backyard. This is a koi pond right here, and pathways and a little river. And this is a house. I have no idea why it's here. And I can tell already that I got bored. I started doing the pavers and I just got bored. I started doing the rocks around the thing and I got bored. Which might be something we run into a lot as we go through these old sketchbooks. Some reason here's a front stoop. I suppose if I really squint, it might have something to do with my my front porch at the first house that we moved into when we moved out here in Colorado. An abstracted Adidas logo. I did not remember that I was working on logos and such this early on, but yeah, at about 12 I would have been starting to really think about being in bands and all that would have entailed. So I would have been very excited about those kinds of things. So we're going to see that a little bit more here on the other pages that I can see kind of peeking through. Legacy, like I said, an upside down star, you know, which has like vaguely, you know, pentagram related references, which of course is great for the little Christian school that I was at. And then dragon scales on an arm. I'm sure that's what that was. Just some more designs. Cursive, my old friend. Okay, so we got this is not gonna happen a lot, but on this one I do have a 2-page spread. This is kind of cool. I like this. I like that the edges of the moon are going behind the star. If I was gonna do it now, I'd probably have them combine into this line as well. I am really fascinated by the fact that I've got logo work this far back. In my brain, I didn't start doing any of that kind of stuff until late high school. This, if I'm not mistaken, is a tattoo design. Very similar to the guitarist the guitarist of Blink-182, Tom DeLonge, who had a tattoo something like this, I think, in my little teeny brain when I was like, in 6th grade. So these are tattoo design things. More logo design, just working on how to shape out these letters and how they might come together. I think that's a foot. I think that is a foot of vines. I wonder if at this point I had seen Princess Mononoke, and if that's kind of what the influence was there. Little robot guy, who I didn't finish. There's going to be a lot of drawings I just didn't finish with the little rocket thing. Ah, yes, and now we get into some early Dragon Ball Z stuff. So this is probably about the time that I started watching anime. It started to... I think we had a channel on our TV that we weren't supposed to get that would show up with not in focus anime, and eventually it did come into focus, or I figured out how to jiggle the wires or whatever. And so I would VHS record Dragon Ball Z and then watch it with my friends later, and then have the trauma of accidentally recording over something that you recorded later. So for any of you who used to work with VHS, let me know, because they are few and far between now. More logo work, I think, just a tiny little thing. Wasted a lot of pages. I probably have a lot of drawings in here that I pulled out. I don't know where they would be, but I have some ideas. This is Trunks, future Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. This is actually not a bad drawing for a little 12-year-old me. I definitely made him squatty. He's a little bit more dwarven in nature, but that's fine. Not too bad. I mean, there's some facial structure issues, and it's just copying, but, you know, not too bad. This is from the Far Side, if I'm not mistaken, and what a hilarious transition to go from Dragon Ball Z to the Far Side. Alright, this is... what is this? This is a little... what does that say? Simple pump, pipe, black lining pipe. So, for some reason, that's a plan for a pond. I do not know why. But I was into some varied things when I was a kid. More Dragon Ball Z things. Facial studies, working on facial expressions and how they functioned. You can see this one right here, though. This is me trying to draw from memory or from imagination on the side, and it did not go well. Oh, this is intriguing. So these are glyphs that ended up being in a language that I wrote in high school for one of the stories I was writing. So I'm, again, intrigued to see them here. I don't think I started high school till 2001. I did not remember that I was working on those stories back then. Interesting. We'll probably get into more of that kind of stuff as we move into high school sketchbooks. This was probably a mix of imagination and drawing from reference. This one's not bad. Not bad for a 12-year-old. There is like no muscle definition anywhere, but, you know, it's all good. Random alien heads and reptile heads. It'd be fun to redraw some of these. Some of these things are so strange. This is, again, kind of pseudo-reference, pseudo-not. Having fun with the sword. I don't know why it's not all the way down in the sheath. The age-old way of dealing with hands by shoving them in pockets or putting them behind so you don't actually have to deal with them. Great. Good job. Look how close those eyes are together. Goodness. Facial practice. Just one. More facial practice. Ah, yes. I do know what this is. This is a tiny little preliminary sketch for a floating city called Spirik, which was probably inspired in part by Dalaran from Warcraft. At that point, not World of Warcraft. I wasn't playing World of Warcraft by then. In fact, in '99, I'm not sure World of Warcraft existed. I can probably check that out and put that on the bottom of the screen to indicate when it did. But Dalaran was... in fact, Dalaran may not have been floating in Warcraft 3. So maybe this wasn't inspired by Dalaran. Maybe this was just my own concoction at that point. There's a lot of funny things when you've been creating and working from ideas for 20 or 30 years. You run into them inevitably in video games, and it's hard to sort out, did I come up with this prior, or was this something that is inspired by this game? Just a lone set of eyes. This is probably Gotenks. So Goten and Trunks when they fuse. I can tell by the structure of this. These arms are hilarious. Look at the upper arm, and then it's like there's 3 segments to the arm like a finger, which is exactly how arms work, we all know. And the head is like the same size as the whole torso. So, well, that looks like that's it for this particular sketchbook. As I said, there's a lot of pages that have been torn out. So that's kind of unfortunate. But the next ones look like they are significantly more full. So we'll dive into those and we'll see what happens. But thanks for tuning in for this first sketchbook tour. I know it's a short one. It's a really old one. And some of the others might be even more intriguing as we get back into just like tiny little me and what I conjured and came up with.